We are not asking you to get paid what the men get paid. We're asking you to get paid the same percentage of revenue shared.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Got it. So that's a huge misconception.
That's a huge misconception.
Got it. Okay,
Yeah, because every video is like, oh, this person gets paid this person gets paid that, right?
So I want to be really clear about that. Like, I don't think I should get paid the same as LeBron.
Right.
But the percentage of revenue, like, for example, they sell my jersey in Mandalay Bay, I don't get a dime.
You don't get any money from jersey sales?
That's crazy.
In the NBA, they have percentages of revenue shared for the players, right? So jersey sales, obviously their TV contracts. You see these every year, these contracts get bigger and bigger and bigger, right?
Yeah, massive.
But that's because their CBA, it negotiates where if the owners are making certain types of money, they get that as well.
Got it.
In the WNBA, that's not the case.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a more rational request, at least. The only problem is the WNBA, until Caitlin Clark, had no revenue.
The Women's National Basketball Association finds itself at the center of a heated discussion regarding its treatment of emerging superstar Caitlin Clark. This controversy has sparked debates about fairness, privilege, and the future direction of professional women's basketball. Caitlin Clark has emerged as a phenomenon in women's professional basketball, generating unprecedented attention for the WNBA. Her exceptional three-point shooting ability and clutch performances have transformed her into the league's most recognizable figure. Statistical analysis reveals that Clark's presence accounts for approximately 1/3 of all ticket purchases across the league this season.
If you want to get people never to watch the WNBA, this is an amazing way to do it. If the league is going to be rooted in this sort of nastiness with regard to its only real star, good luck to them. Well, folks, the left has a real problem in the United States. They've spent the last several decades talking about how racism is an endemic problem in American life. And there's a problem with that problem, which is there's not enough racism for them. They require instances of racism in order to support the idea that every maldistribution of outcome is, in fact, rooted in racism and white supremacy. And so they're constantly looking for their latest racial conflagration. It has to be a white on black racial conflagration, obviously, because white supremacy and white privilege and all the rest. The latest iteration of this comes courtesy of the WNBA. So it is amazing to be discussing the WNBA, like seriously at the top of a show, because let's face it, the last time anyone cared about the WNBA was when Brittany Griner, who will arise in a moment,
The rookie's influence extends far beyond individual game statistics. Television viewership numbers spike dramatically whenever Clark takes the court, creating a ripple effect that benefits the entire organization. Her college basketball stardom seamlessly translated to professional success, making the WNBA relevant to mainstream sports audiences for the first time in years. Despite her obvious talent and dedication, Clark has become the subject of intense scrutiny regarding racial dynamics within the sport. Critics have suggested that her rapid rise to prominence stems partially from advantages unrelated to basketball ability. These discussions have created significant tension within the league, particularly among veteran players who have competed without similar recognition.
Was actually freed from captivity in Russia after having brought marijuana product into Russia, a genius move, and then being essentially kidnapped by the Russian government, and then we had to trade an arms dealer for her. I will say that based on some of her late comments, I'm not sure that we got the better end of that particular deal. In any case, the WNBA entered into an investigation over the course of the past couple of weeks because there were allegations that fans were being racist during a game between the Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever. And yes, I should get points for knowing the names of both of those teams.
The conversation intensified when Clark publicly addressed questions about privilege during media interviews. Her responses acknowledged the complex racial history of women's basketball, while maintaining that her achievements resulted from years of hard work and commitment. These statements, rather than resolving the controversy, seemed to amplify the debate surrounding her position in the league. Clark expressed admiration for previous WNBA legends, particularly Maya Moore, and emphasized her long-standing appreciation for the contributions of black athletes who built the foundation of women's professional basketball. Her attempts to navigate these sensitive topics with both confidence and humility have been met with mixed reactions from various stakeholders.
And the Indiana Fever is, of course, the team of Caitlin Clark, who's the only player in the WNBA who seems to matter right now. And the Chicago Sky are the team of Angel Reese, who is sort of her arch nemesis and has been since her college days. So the allegations arose after there was a foul by Caitlin Clark on Angel Reese. It was called a flagrant. If you watch the video, it's pretty clearly not a flagrant foul, just by any basketball standard. Basically, Angel Reese goes up for a layup, and Caitlin Clark doesn't clothesline or anything, kind of grabs her, and Angel Reese falls over. And there were allegations that people in the stands were then being racist. So The league immediately launched an investigation into these alleged racist comments.
The ongoing conflict between Clark and Angel Reese has become a focal point for broader discussions about competition and recognition within the WNBA. Their rivalry, which began during their college careers, has continued into the professional ranks with added layers of complexity surrounding media attention and fan engagement. Reese and other players have expressed frustration about the disproportionate focus on Clark compared to other talented athletes in the league. This sentiment reflects deeper concerns about how success is measured and celebrated in women's professional sports. The tension between these competitors has generated significant media coverage, though not always for reasons related to their athletic performances.
And the WNBA had responded with a statement confirming the investigation. Quote, the WNBA strongly condemns racism, hate, and discrimination in all forms. They have no place in our league or in society. We are aware of the allegations and are looking into the matter. Now, there was no evidence at the time that any of this was true. And given the fact that cell phones are ubiquitous and that everybody now tapes everybody else saying anything racist, the chances that this actually happened in real life were extremely, extremely low, especially at like a WNBA game. Hey, who are the white supremacists showing up at a WNBA game? Seriously. The white privilege folks who are like, you know what? We don't like black people and we're super white nationalist, so we're going to a WNBA game.
Analysis of attendance figures and television ratings demonstrates a stark disparity in public interest when Clark participates versus when she does not. This reality has created an uncomfortable dynamic where some players feel overshadowed despite their own considerable talents and contributions to the sport. A significant controversy erupted following allegations of racist behavior by fans during a game between the Chicago Sky and Indiana Fever. These claims quickly spread across social media platforms and mainstream sports journalism, creating a firestorm of speculation and commentary about the treatment of Clark by opposing team supporters.
What is the crossover between those two circles? There's like no crossover in that Venn diagram. It didn't matter. Caitlin Clark was then forced to go out there and make a statement. And every time Caitlin Clark makes one of these statements, blink if you need help, Caitlin. Here she was after the game saying that there's no place for racism in the game.
There's no place for that in our game. There's no place for that in society. And, certainly we want every person that comes into our arena, whether player, whether fan, to have a great experience. So I appreciate the league doing that. I appreciate, the Fever organization has been at the forefront of that since, really day one and what they're doing. So we'll, hopefully the investigation, we'll leave that up to them to find anything and take the proper action if so.
The WNBA launched a comprehensive investigation into these allegations, dedicating substantial resources to uncovering evidence of inappropriate fan behavior. However, despite the prevalence of recording devices and social media documentation in modern sports venues, no credible evidence emerged to support the initial claims. The investigation's conclusion revealed no substantiated proof of racist remarks or behavior directed toward Clark during the contested game. This outcome highlighted the speed with which unverified allegations can spread and the lasting impact they can have on public perception, even when later proven unfounded.
Well, I mean, she needed to say that, because if she hadn't said that, then you would have thought that the WNBA was just filled with deep and abiding racism, obviously. And of course, this is not the first time that Caitlin Clark has been forced to go to the camera and then speak the words, say the thing. So not all that long ago, 2024, December, she came out and she had to acknowledge her own white privilege. Now, can we be clear about this? If Caitlin Clark were not in the WNBA, we would not be talking about the WNBA. She is the only ticket draw in the WNBA. A large percentage of all tickets sold in the WNBA are so people can watch Caitlin Clark play basketball. No one cares about Angel Reese. She'd be drawing flies if she were playing not against Caitlin Clark on the court right now.
The contrast between the extensive investigation into unsubstantiated fan behavior and the minimal response to documented player conduct raised questions about the league's priorities and consistency in addressing racial issues. This disparity has been cited as evidence of bias in how incidents are evaluated and prosecuted. Beyond verbal controversies, Clark has faced notably aggressive physical treatment during games. Compilation videos have documented numerous hard fouls and questionable plays directed specifically at her, raising concerns about player safety and competitive fairness. These incidents have led to injuries that temporarily removed Clark from games, prompting fan outrage and calls for better protection of marquee players. The pattern of physical targeting has been interpreted by some observers as evidence of resentment toward Clark's success and media attention.
That Caitlin Clark is bringing notoriety to their sport, Their idea is, why didn't people watch the WNBA before? The answer is because Caitlin Clark is uniquely talented and, yes, uniquely appealing. And is some of that based on race? Well, I mean, there are other white players in the WNBA who don't have remotely this kind of following. So I really don't think that that's the reason. She was a wildly popular player when she was in college. Was that also based on her race or based on the fact that she was hitting threes like an NBA player? Well, back in December,
the league's response to these safety concerns has been criticized as inadequate, with some fans threatening boycotts if protection measures are not improved. The situation has created additional tension between maintaining competitive integrity and ensuring star player safety. The WNBA's handling of Clark-related controversies has drawn criticism from multiple perspectives. Some argue that the league has failed to adequately protect its most valuable asset, while others contend that too much focus on individual players undermines team-based competition. Shapiro and other commentators have warned that the current approach risks alienating the very audiences that Clark has brought to women's basketball. Television ratings and attendance figures outside of Clark's game suggest that her individual appeal has not yet translated into sustained league-wide growth.
she actually had to issue a statement in which she suggested that there's an element of white privilege in her stardom. Quote, I feel like I've earned every single thing that's happened to me over the course of my career, but I also grew up a fan of this league from a very young age. My favorite player was Maya Moore. I knew what this league was about. She said, like I said, the WNBA has only been around 25 plus years. Only, by the way. And they've never earned a profit until like this very moment, maybe. I know there's been so many amazing black women that have been in this league, and continuing to uplift them, I think, is very important. That's something I'm aware of, is what she told Time magazine.
The organization faces a critical decision point regarding how to balance individual star power with collective team promotion. Historical examples from other professional sports leagues suggest that embracing and protecting star players typically benefits overall league popularity and financial success. Clark's situation represents more than individual controversy. It reflects larger questions about how women's professional sports can achieve mainstream acceptance and financial viability. Her ability to generate interest among casual sports fans demonstrates the potential for significant growth in the women's basketball market. However, the ongoing tensions and controversies threaten to undermine this progress by shifting focus from athletic excellence to divisive social and political discussions. The challenge for the WNBA involves harnessing Clark's appeal while maintaining positive relationships among all players and stakeholders.
We got to talk about it because we saw this tweet. And this is a tweet from someone who was courtside, by the way. And let's just say this right now. What we know as facts. The investigation was about fans in the vicinity of the court. So courtside fans. Fans around the court. It is not about what happened in section 187. It is not about one fan saying something in section 187 because there's no way to prove or deny that. To prove or disprove that. There is no way to prove or disprove any of that. Everything is he said, she said. And to be honest, there's 18,000 people. Just like in anything in life, there are going to be bad. If you have 18,000 of people of anybody, of any kind in one building, there's bound to be a few bad eggs, no matter what it is. No matter what it is in life. So yes, there could have been something in section 145 or 245 in the very corner where someone says something to someone beside them. But both teams' coaches confirmed they heard nothing. Both teams' coaches confirmed nothing was heard in the game.
The league's handling of these issues will likely influence its trajectory for years to come. Success in managing current controversies could establish a foundation for sustained growth, while continued problems might squander a unique opportunity for advancement. Financial analysis reveals that Clark's presence generates substantially more revenue than any other current WNBA player. This economic reality creates pressure for the league to prioritize her success and satisfaction, regardless of other considerations. Sponsorship deals, television contracts, and merchandise sales all benefit from Clark's popularity and media coverage. These financial incentives must be balanced against maintaining competitive equity and player morale throughout the organization.
They specified in the vicinity of the court. So you would assume courtside or near courtside. We've investigated a report of racist fan behavior in the vicinity of the court. In the vicinity of the court. They're trying to tell someone who was courtside they didn't hear it. And the person who made the allegation that went viral was not at the game. was almost certainly not at the game. And if they were at the game, the photos they were using to prove they were at the game was not of a commercially available ticket. I've seen that person post a photo of the game, of them saying, this is where I sat at the game. Do you want to know what they found? They found a media picture. They put a picture up, and they said, I was in this section. And then somebody literally that was in the section they said that they were in, they refused to say what section they were in. They just said 200 plus. Person who was in the sections 200, it was like, that's clearly not section 200 because I sat in first row of section 210 or something. And you could see you're above the Jumbotron at 200 and this person was below the Jumbotron. So they were in a completely different section. They was a completely in a completely different section.
The potential economic consequences of losing Clark or failing to capitalize on her appeal could be devastating for a league that has historically struggled with financial sustainability. This reality adds urgency to resolving current controversies and establishing positive momentum. The WNBA stands at a crossroads regarding its future direction and priorities. The Clark phenomenon has created both unprecedented opportunities and significant challenges that will require careful navigation to achieve optimal outcomes. League leadership must address legitimate concerns about fairness and opportunity while protecting and promoting the assets that drive growth and interest. This balancing act will determine whether the current momentum can be sustained and expanded. The broader sports media landscape will continue monitoring how these issues develop, with implications extending beyond basketball to other women's professional sports facing similar challenges regarding star power, equity, and sustainable growth. Success in managing the Clark situation could establish a template for other leagues and organizations, while failure might serve as a cautionary tale about the complexities of modern sports marketing and social dynamics. The ultimate test will be whether the WNBA can transform current controversies into positive momentum that benefits all players, fans, and stakeholders while maintaining the competitive integrity that defines professional athletics.
Yeah, in numbers, but we're looking at adding another player for a replacement player to help us with our numbers and try to get people healthy and try to get a full roster back together. I mean, games are still coming, so it's going to be an adjustment, but we have a good group. We have good depth, thankfully, so that should help us.
Yeah. Are you hoping to have that player before Tuesday's game?
We're hoping, yeah.
All right.
Have you ever been through any circumstance this early into the season and stuff, where you're battling 3-4 down? Like, how unique is it?
Remember, I don't.
The Indiana Fever organization recently conducted a significant media session addressing mounting concerns about their current roster situation. Team executives and coaching staff provided extensive commentary regarding their approach to managing multiple player absences and the strategic adjustments required moving forward. During this comprehensive discussion, Fever leadership outlined their methodology for addressing the depleted lineup, with several key contributors sidelined, including prominent players dealing with various physical setbacks. The organization faces substantial personnel challenges that demand immediate attention and creative solutions.
Probably, but I mean, because, the WNBA, the roster sizes are so much smaller. So when you get down to the 11-player roster and you lose 3 players like that, now you've got to add a quick player to your roster. So, it's something that you just deal with being in this league, with the roster sizes being a little bit smaller, and that's why you try to build for depth.
Is this maybe another perfect example of where the WNBA could get to, where they had, like the NBA has 2 ways, but maybe home player development roles, and they could be available in times like this? Would that be ideal?
I mean, just more bodies would be good. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
The franchise's decision-makers emphasize their commitment to securing additional talent through available roster mechanisms. When questioned about their criteria for potential acquisitions, team officials stress the importance of identifying versatile contributors capable of making meaningful impacts across multiple areas of competition. The priority involves finding someone who brings significant defensive capabilities while also possessing the skills to facilitate offensive flow. With limited healthy backcourt options currently available, the focus centers on acquiring personnel who can handle ball distribution responsibilities effectively. The coaching staff detailed their tactical modifications designed to accommodate the current personnel limitations. These adjustments include streamlining offensive systems to reduce complexity and provide clearer role definitions for available players. The approach involves implementing more structured offensive schemes with predetermined actions rather than relying heavily on read and react principles. Instead of presenting numerous options, the strategy focuses on mastering a smaller number of effective sets.
Player, are you valuing someone like knows the system, has been here? Is it maybe best player available at that position?
I think best player available at that position who can add value on both ends of the floor. Certainly we need to have someone who can add value on the defensive end. We got to have somebody who can help us navigate and get into offense, handle the ball. Since we're down to 2 healthy guards, the goal would be to get everybody kind of back to their natural positions if we can. But at the same time, we can't control everything, so we'll get the best player that we can get.
This simplified methodology extends beyond offensive adjustments to encompass defensive alignments as well. With players potentially operating outside their natural positions,